my gosh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Oily Wisdom Show. I'm Leonie Featherstone from Sense of Empowerment and looking forward to sharing with you some of the ins and outs of our beautiful doTERRA essential oils and explaining why they are such wise tools to pop in your life toolkit. With me this morning, I have my beautiful friend Berit Munro, who actually is going to do sign language, and we have to lip read because she can't get her sound to work. But it's okay. I'm sure she will work that out before too long. In the interim, let me just pop these in the comments. Let me see if I can do this. I just want to let you know what you can do to make comments, because we want to hear from you. We want to hear, where are you from? What country? What's going on? Share with us your thoughts. Share with us your feelings about essential oils. Maybe you've got some questions about essential oils. That's what we're here for, my friends. We've got some lovely things to share with you this morning, some wonderful insights. And why I have Berit with me is that Berit has a very extensive background in science and has been teaching and sharing the wisdom of science and how it relates to the human anatomy for over 40 years. And in that time, she's also integrated her extensive knowledge of essential oils, and so that we can understand why these essential oils actually have the effect they do on our bodies. I love to focus on the emotions and how the oils support us that way. And I think it's so powerful to understand that we are a holistic being, mind, body, spirit. And here on the Spiritual Events Directory community, we're used to hearing and talking about all things spirit. And I love to bring in is that aspect of looking after our physical body and our emotional body so that we can expand into the spiritual mind and be the best human being on this planet that we possibly can. And our beautiful gifts of the earth, these essential oils, can help us on that journey. Love you to pop your comments in. I'm going to try and watch those comments as I go, and it was quite funny when we started. I'm such a face-to-face person, as Berit knows, and this has been a really great lesson for me in pushing myself out of my comfort zone to actually go live and to actually, present to you in this format. As I was trying to press the go live button, I actually clicked totally out of the program. So anything could happen today. But one of the things Berit and I were talking about earlier was about letting go of control. And it's so powerful. The topic today that I've chosen is, excuse me, sense of relief, because we really wanted to talk and have a chat with you about pain and discomfort. Our planet is going through some really amazing changes right now, a lot of upheaval and discomfort in the world. And so that can be happening on a physical and an emotional and an energetic level. And we want to talk about how the essential oils can support you to provide a sense of relief. So where are you from? Say hello. Love to hear from you. Berit's still trying to get sound. So I just want to tell you what we're going to be doing today. And this is how I love to run this show, is to interact with you. Again, pop some questions in there. But basically, my background is I've been working with people. People are my passion. I've been doing that all my life. I am fascinated by the human psyche, the psychology of how we think and how we act. And I love how these essential oils can help us to clear out the communication channels and make sure that everything, all the messaging that's flowing through our body and our mind and our heart is working in a way that's serving our needs. I believe I was put on this earth to empower others to be the best they can be. And you are all amazing, beautiful beings that were put here to blossom. And I put myself in that category. And that whole journey is not one of just, I've made that realization and now I'm perfect. I believe I'm perfectly imperfect on a constant path of improvement and learning. And I love tapping into the wisdom of my mentors and my colleagues, and this whole Spiritual Events Directory is filled with amazing people who have talents that we all tap into and add into our life toolkit. This is what I want to suggest to you. Create an amazing toolkit that you can add into and then listen to your own inner wisdom to grow. So, hi Diana, hi Carmel, lovely to have you here this morning. What I'm going to do is share some information about particular oils. Berit's going to come on and share why they actually work, how they do. And then I'm also going to interpret some of our cards for you so that you can understand the wisdom that these oil cards have for you where you are right now. So please, if you'd like a card, pop that in there as well. But excuse me. First up, I always like to help us get out of that frazzled frame that we might be in.
Hello.
Oh, they can hear you, Berit.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
seriously?
Diana, you can hear Berit. It's just I can't hear Berit. Now that's really interesting.
Oh,
We
okay.
can't hear each other. Thank you, Diana. Thank you.
Oh.
That is really interesting. So, Berit, we're just going to have to do this. Now, don't you just love how the universe prevents challenges? I really hope you weren't swearing then, Berit.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we'll make this work. Georgia would love a card. Okay, I'm going to write you guys down because I get caught up and then I miss chat. So what I want you to do, so often at this stage of the morning, it's 9:36 a.m. here in Queensland, and for some of you, it'll be a different time of the day, and you've had lots of stuff go on today or last night or the week or whatever. So let's all just try and come into this space where we can just go and let it all out. So maybe just if you have an essential oil, and I hope it's a doTERRA one, and if you haven't got doTERRA oils and you're using other oils, all respect, my mission is to take you on an oily journey, to share with you the amazing qualities of our oils and how you can bring them into your life, integrate them into all areas of your life. But right now, I want you to grab whatever oil you have, whatever speaks to you, and just pop some in the palm of your hand. I'm going to just use my Copaiba right now. Copaiba. I'm going to inhale. And what I want you to do is to do that. And then just big, deep breath. Take a big, deep breath in. And then let it out. And let out a really loud noise as you let it out. And let those shoulders drop. And let's just drop off all that stuff we're carrying that other people may have added on there or we've said unknowingly, give it to me. And let it off. Now, what I want you to do is keep your eyes closed. And I want to just take you on a little fun journey. I love looking back into the fun moments of my childhood. And I want you to just imagine, I grew up in the outback of Australia that was very arid. It rarely rained. And when it rained, it was just the most exciting experience. If you can imagine parched dirt. And I want you to imagine this little kid, Leonie, with a little curly mop. And it's raining. And she gets her brothers and sisters with the permission of her mother. I was very well behaved. And we were allowed to go and run in the rain. And so off we went, our little legs pumping hard as our heads we're facing up to the sky with our mouth open. And guys, I want you to bring in all your senses here. Bring in all your senses. Can you feel that dry dust beneath your feet? Can you just feel that soft pitter-patter of the raindrops on your face, on your smiling face, because you are so excited to see that water fall from the sky because you rarely see it. It is a gift from the gods. And as you run in the rain, it gets heavier and heavier, and you can smell it. You can smell that water hitting that dry dirt. And I have to tell you, my friends, that is still one of my most favorite aromas, when water hits dry dirt and turns it into mud and then creates that life force that later will produce that luscious green grass. And as you're running through that rain, you can hear the crackle of thunder, and you know that it's going to be even more rain, and that's going to be even more exciting because your river might run, and you may get a chance to swim, something that you might only get to do once or twice a year. And then you can feel the dirt beneath your feet getting slippery, and you look ahead and the rain is gushing down the road, and you can see these big banks of silt building up. And the inner child just wants to play in mud. And I love to play in mud. And you get a run up, you steady yourself, you feel your muscles tightening in your legs, and then you start to sprint and you hit that bank of silt and you put your arms out like you're surfing, not that you've ever seen sea, and you slide through that mud as that delicious feel of that mud tickles your toes. And then you add splash on your bottom in that mud, the most exhilarating feeling. This is living. This is life. This is nature providing the fun, the entertainment, and I'm squeezing every minute of joy out of it. I can feel it. I can see it. I can taste it. I can hear it. I am in joy. How often do you think back to childhood memories that really made your body sing, that put you at peace, that put you at ease? My friends, I think we need to do this more often. We need to come to our senses, go back into those fun moments and think about it through a child's eyes and with a child's feelings, and know that when we're in that state, our body is just ease. We're not tight, we're not worrying. And I think that we need to do this to let go of the tension and to create this relief in our life. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to invite Berit to share, because we've been exposed to essential oils for quite some time, but Berit, I'm really interested with your science background. You know, what was the first doTERRA oil perhaps that kind of helped you to join the dots to see why they are so wise, and the science behind that wisdom and why that works so well with us? And what I'm going to do while you're doing that is I'm actually going to get this up on my phone and see if I can hear you on my phone.
Okay. So maybe if someone wants to put a comment in to make sure that you can actually hear me, that would be great. If you just put that into the comments. Otherwise, it's going to be me talking to myself, and that's not going to be too good. So when I first started out using the doTERRA oils, I've used oils pretty much all my life, but when I was introduced to the doTERRA oils, if someone wants to put a comment in to make sure that you can actually hear me, that would be great. If you just put that into the comments. Otherwise, it's going to be me talking to myself, and that's not going to be too good. So when I first started out using doTERRA oils, I've used oils pretty much all my life, but when I was introduced to the doTERRA oils, if someone wants to put a comment in to make sure that we can actually. Leonie, if you want to put your headphones in, if you want to just hear what I'm saying, because there's quite a considerable lag.
Are you okay, Berit?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just I can hear myself on the speaker, and there is a lag. So maybe just mute it or just put one earphone in. Oh gosh. We'll just make sure that Leonie, that's going to be a bit easier. Perfect. So when I was first introduced to these particular beautiful oils, I was going through a health challenge, and I was in severe pain. I used to have chronic head tension, which would last for days, and I had to use medication that was in my estimation, pretty horrible, medication. And I didn't really feel comfortable with that because I was very much brought up in a very natural, using natural remedies kind of a home. And then I found a combination of oils in a blend called Ice Blue. And this is the Ice Blue here. And Ice Blue is a really gorgeous blend of, the number one that it mentions is wintergreen, and then we have camphor, then we have peppermint, then we have ylang-ylang, so many other oils in there. And, there's chamomile in there, there's osmanthus, there's helichrysum, so there's a number of oils in there. And what I found was that was really dulling my pain that I was experiencing. And I was quite surprised because really, I'd looked at oils more from a soothing kind of perspective, calming, relaxing perspective versus a real kind of therapeutic benefit. And of course, then I started to research what these different oils are. I wanted to know exactly what is in this blend that could possibly be giving me this sort of relief. And then when you look at the science, especially with wintergreen is probably 99.95% methyl salicylate. And if you were a chemist and I would come up to you and would say, hey, can you make me some methyl salicylate? You would actually be going to the factory and you would be getting some aspirin. And I thought, okay, well, now I kind of know why this is working. And then I was looking at camphor, what are some components, some constituents? Remember, I mentioned last week that oils are not just made up of one thing. They have got hundreds of constituents in them that can have different effects on the body. And so then I was looking at camphor and what constituents it had in it. And so I went down the list. And I found some very interesting things. Camphor is quite complicated, but let's look at peppermint, for example. So peppermint will actually create what's called vasodilation. So it will actually, expand the blood vessels. It will actually make sure that more blood will get to that, area of injury. And with that, it will actually create, it will shunt all of the good things that the body needs in that space at that particular point. So all the nourishing goodness comes to it, all the numbing things come to it. So that's why the blend is so beautiful. So, but I like to actually take it a step back if I can, Leonie, and I know you'll hear this later with a lag.
No, I'm right now, Berit.
You can hear me perfect. So what I love is that, look, nobody likes pain, but pain is actually essential for survival. Because if you, sit around the campfire and your toes are just getting a little bit too close to the fire, you need some sort of reaction that's going to make you pull your foot back. Okay, otherwise you would just burn to a crisp. So we do need to look at pain from the perspective of it being part of our survival mechanism, where things can click in so quickly. You don't even have to think about, okay, I'm experiencing pain and now I've got to do this, this, and this. Instantly, your body overrides any conscious thing and it will make you flex your muscles and draw your foot back. And so,
Berit, can I just pop in there? When you said about pain being essential for, what was that phrase you used? Pain being essential for survival.
Survival. Mm.
And I think when we think about it, as much as we probably don't want to think about it, pain is essential for our emotional survival. And I think that's where, when we understand that pain is our teacher, emotional pain is our teacher, and we need to be the diligent, attentive student and to be listening to that pain. And it's one of the, I'm sorry if I cut you off there, but I know you'll come back in. It's really interesting with pain. And guys, maybe as Berit's talking about the physical, I find it really fascinating to try and draw the parallels with the emotional when people are talking about physical. And so if we were to say to you guys, where have you got aches and pains right now? It'd be quite interesting. Let's do it. Let's just pop down here. Where have you got aches and pains right now? If you'd like to do that, guys, in the comments. And then you'd probably find that really easy. But if I said, where are you hurting emotionally? You may find that a little bit more difficult. But here's what I suggest you do. Some of you know I love Ollie the Octopus, which is one of my brainstorming tools, where you just draw a circle in the middle of the page and then you draw off the legs and you put circles on the end. And basically in the middle, you might put pain. And then you'd be writing knees, back, shoulder. Whereas if you may not be able to do it quite so quickly, but if you think about something that's happened that maybe someone has said that has hurt you, and just straight away, without being too, get into your heart here, just put your hand where it hurts. It might be the heart. Okay, so I'm hurting in the heart. And then you might think, okay, they've just given me all that extra work, and you go like that because you're actually feeling overloaded and overwhelmed and it's on your shoulders. So it's a really interesting exercise to go, okay, all right, I'm hurting here. And sometimes it works the opposite way. So you've identified all the physical and then go, well, why are my shoulders hurting? And then you might just realize that you've got poor posture, or you might think, how am I feeling about my shoulders hurting? And then you think, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I'm feeling like nobody can see me. They're just loading me up with extra work. And when you start asking those questions, and it's like you become your own teacher and student in one. I think we have to be really courageous and keep asking those questions. And even if the tears start to fall or whatever, I'd say, yay, let it out. Because what we tend to do with pain, it's kind of like that expression, man up. Oh no, I've just got to, my back's hurting, but I'll just keep lifting these bags of cement. It'll be okay. I'll just keep fencing. That's kind of a masculine kind of attitude. But if we don't deal with it, it'll go, hello, you're not listening, whack. and it'll give you something to just stop you in your tracks. Same emotionally. So when we can be brave enough to just almost like separate the emotion from the feeling, the emotion from the logic, if we can just look at an emotion without emotion. Now that might sound really weird, but just accept it and write it down. It is a fact. And you may have heard me last week talking about this great book I'm reading called How to Think Like a Roman Emperor. And it's based on the Stoics, and it's very much about just looking at things as they are. I am feeling heartbroken right now. That's the fact. Let's not build a second story on the House of Misery by revisiting, it's not fair, whatever. Just, it's a fact. How can I now deal with this fact? How can I mend my broken heart? And so I think pain on that level is really powerful. And you mentioned wintergreen there before, and I love the ice blue blend. I don't know how I would get through my day without ice blue because of some structural issues. And so when you look at the oils, it's really quite powerful. And guys, can I tell you, we need to be brave enough to see the bits of us that aren't functioning the way they need to. So wintergreen is very much about surrender, and to see pain as this teacher, not to fall into the victim mode of poor me. Why is it happening to me? Why does everyone put stuff on me? Well, I know the reason why, because we didn't say no. We didn't set clear boundaries. And so wintergreen is very, very good there. Osmanthus, one of the oils in there as well, is actually about detaching. So again, it supports what I was saying before. If we can actually detach from that and kind of like hover up, pretend you're like in a hovercraft, hovering up, looking down on yourself as this person and just some stuff that's going on around them. That way we can work with that more clearly. And helichrysum, some of you may know as immortelle or everlasting. It's interesting. Another little tip for you. I love nature. I feel so close to nature. I love being amongst the trees and the just anything in the bush. But when you look at a plant and its characteristics, ask yourself questions. How can that apply to me and what I'm going through right now? So if you think about helichrysum, immortelle, when it's picked, it can actually retain its color, its shape, etc., long after it has been picked. And one would think it's been separated from its life source, but it is everlasting. And I think the message to us is that we can heal. We can heal. And so when we take that lesson from that and apply it to ourselves, but we have to look first. We often think about helichrysum as liquid stitches, don't we, Berit? And yes. I'm a bit of a klutz in the kitchen. I'll cut myself with a knife or something. I always go for the helichrysum because it's, it's powerful, really, really powerful. So think about that on the inside, where we've had some hurts or some wounding, where helichrysum can help us to heal. And I don't know if you remember this, Berit. Number of years ago now, I was teaching one of my personal development trainings or business trainings, which I do with my team all the time. And I talked about, because I just discovered the Japanese art, and I never really know how to say it, so someone on here can probably put me right. Is it kintsugi? Or it's actually where they mend broken pottery with gold.
That's right.
And it's showing that, for all our flaws, we are even more beautiful because we have chosen to go within, recognize that pain, and actually do the work. So helichrysum is a little bit like that. It's like the golden light coming through and helping to heal those hurts that are there. So I just want to throw in some of those elements of ice blue from an emotional aspect while you were talking about it. And I think that when I look at it and I think about what it's teaching me, I need to surrender. I need to stop trying to control my life. I need to have more trust in a greater power, in that when I just do my bit, the best I can be, life will probably flow better. And our peppermint in there, which is, Berit's just given you a great insight into peppermint from a scientific point of view. It's the oil of like circulation. It's helping to support circulation. What is circulation? It's about flow. So we can flow better through life. It's like we create so much resistance. We are creating all that tension. We need to let go and flow, and we will feel that sense of relief. Over to you, Berit.
Oh, I love that. And when we're looking, especially at helichrysum, it's an oil that works really well with nerves. and with, there's constituents in there that support nerve repair. So when you think about it, pain is your nerves basically going a little bit crazy and giving you a stimulus that, something is hurting here, which is, refers back to my initial comment about, that we need pain for survival. What we don't need is obviously chronic pain. And, that's where we need to look within. I mean, we really do have the answers within. We just get so, caught up in life, don't we and we just don't look at it. We don't pause to actually look at. We don't helicopter up, as you said earlier on, to kind of say, well, okay, how can I detach myself from this situation and actually look at what is causing this pain? And I think we're probably all familiar with Louise Hay, who has done such beautiful work. And I think one of you, I think, was it Fiona? You mentioned you've got pain in your legs. Well, first question is that structural? Is it muscular? Is it joint? Or is it, looking from an emotional perspective, what do you not want to step towards? Those kind of things. And that's what we need to do. So, it's fascinating.
So true. And I think when we're looking at pain, it's good to think about it on so many different levels. So, we have the physical pain, and then, there's the pain of grief and loss. And I'm not just talking about end of life. I'm talking about the pain of maybe a friend moving away. And particularly, I think I'm really passionate about our youth, and I'd love to see more training and more empowerment with our youngsters, and which is what we love to see with our oily families, because they're starting to integrate the oils into their children's lives at a 3, 4, 5 for some of them, and they know to ask when they have a pain, or they know when to ask when they have discomfort. And when we can use these, I've totally lost my train of thought. Then I got thinking about children again. But yeah, when we recognise the pain, so children often are going through a lot of pain. And Berit, sometimes that turns up. And I know you had a great story with a young girl who had stomach pains, and they went to all sorts of lengths to identify that. And then finally, I remember Berit telling me that she asked what was going on in the little girl's life, and they'd had her tested and there was nothing wrong with her stomach. And she had started a new school and just wasn't coping. And Berit suggested they use Digest Zen, which is our, as its name suggests, digestive blend, to help her digest all that was going on around her. So we'll come back to that blend, because I know that's a favourite of yours too. But I just want to do who was it first? Georgia asked for a card, and I'm just going to, how these cards work, these Oily Wisdom cards, is that I'll draw a card for you, and I'm going to ask for one that is in your best interest. And then on these cards, I'll tell you a little bit about the oil itself. I'll tell you what it's going to help to release and bring into your life. And then I'll give you a centering thought, and then I'll give you a question. And just remember this, guys, the brain is like a computer, and we've got lots of stuff stored. We've got some experiences that we probably would rather not have had, although they're all there for a reason. We've got experiences that we really love. Now, if we ask our brain to tell us what experiences we maybe shouldn't have had or didn't do so well in, or what will point out that we maybe didn't think, or whatever, it will tell us. So the key is not to ask the computer to fill your head with more negativity, is to fill your head with positivity. Okay, so we ask a positive question that's going to elicit a positive response. So Georgia, okay, so we have for you our repellent blend, which is Terra Armor. And that is one that is so powerful. I mean, I live in central Queensland, and we do a lot of outdoor stuff here all year round. And there's often those little friends, our little friends from nature, who I would like to go and I really want them to be friends with other people, but they love me. I must have really lovely blood. They love me, and I do not react well to them. And so I'm very grateful that doTERRA brought out this beautiful, non-toxic, natural blend of essential oils. And what it does is it repels. So when we, again, that's kind of like on a physical level, but when we look at on an emotional level, this is going to help us when we maybe are feeling attacked. You know, maybe we're feeling people are attacking our energy, attacking us emotionally, and maybe we're not feeling safe. And what we want, we feel like we just got no protection. And you really want to put this big shield up. So that's what this this blend will help for you. And again, it is about boundaries, very much about boundaries. And I think that's an area we might talk more about another time, because I feel that that's something that we don't work on well enough, particularly us women. We tend to be, there's a lot of holes in our boundaries. But anyway, so what this oil will help you to do, Georgia, and I don't know what's going on, whether you are in that situation, maybe you are feeling a bit too vulnerable. We all need to be a little vulnerable, but not to the extent where you're going to be hurt. So this is maybe a way for you to create some strength and be able to assert yourself a little more. And it's also, if you think about, you know, when we put up a shield, it's as much about, you know, like not allowing any of the insects in the case of Terra Armor, but also any negative energy, jibes, emotional attacks on you. And it's also stopping you from taking on what's not yours, Georgia. So maybe it is about self-reflection to think, well, have I said yes? Have I allowed these energy vampires into my life? Have I allowed this to happen? Thanks, Jess. Lovely having you on here. Hi, Cassandra. So, Georgia, here's a centering thought for you. I'm looking over there at your name instead of looking up here. I own my feelings. I am discerning. And I think that's a really key point, Georgia, because I don't believe we need to change our true self. If you're loving and trusting, that's beautiful. We just need to be more discerning. And I would suggest, I'm kind of relating to you on that one. I suggest that, you know, think about it as just being a little bit more discerning about who you allow to come into your energy field. And here's another thought for you to say to yourself: I have clear and healthy energetic boundaries. And the question for you, Georgia, to ask yourself is, why is it so easy to protect and shield myself energetically? So I hope that resonates with you. And then I actually wanted to, I actually picked a card, and I meant to tell you this before. I actually chose a card for the collective at the beginning. And with all that technology, I forgot to share it with you. And it's quite interesting because the oil that I chose was coriander. And coriander is a beautiful oil. It's some of you will be recognizing these oils as ones that you might normally have in the kitchen. And that's another session that I'll integrate the wisdom of essential oils with food, because they are just incredibly savvy when they know what to partner with and pair with to create even more flavor. And so I'll probably get another guest on to help chat about that. But what coriander is all about is about integrity. It's about being true to oneself. And so often we are very good at putting everyone else's needs before our own. And we've got the balance way out of whack, ladies. It's like, you know, it's like the little kid and the very well endowed child sitting on a seesaw, and it's just way out of balance. So we need to get that balance right. Georgia, it makes a lot of sense. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. Hey, Janice, how are you? We won't tell anyone you're supposed to be working, Janice. So with coriander, so often, you know, if we're feeling a little bit insecure, maybe we're feeling a bit of self-betrayal. And this is the key with questioning pain, my friends. So often it's easy to look outward and blame others, and we feel anger. Anger is another form of pain. Guilt is another form of pain. But with anger and frustration, this is a journey I've been on myself. And I realized then that the person I am actually most angry and frustrated with is myself, because I have allowed it to happen. And I think that this is a really key lesson to know, that we are the master of our own ship. We are the master of our own destiny. And so we get to call the shots. And I don't mean we have to go out there with guns blazing and just, it's, you know, I'll do it my way. But it is very much about taking stock of who I am, who I want to become, and who I want in my arena. And so what this does, it's very much about helping us to accept ourselves, accept our true selves, not maybe the self that we've kind of molded to suit somebody else. And that we will now have the confidence and the ability to honor ourselves. When we honor ourselves, my friends, we are actually paying tribute to our maker, whoever that may be in your world. And also we are shining that light to other people, and we will attract the right type of people to us, and we will possibly have less pain. The centering thought: I live a life of integrity. I honor who I am in all aspects of my life. I stand for truth. I find purpose in my life and my own capabilities. And the question I hope we all go away asking ourselves today is, why is it so easy for me to honor and believe in myself? So, Berit, coriander is a integral part of digest then. Why does
Absolutely.
digestion work so well for digestive
It,
issues?
it works really well because when we're eating food, obviously, food belongs to three different major food groups. If we're looking at, the proteins, the carbohydrates, and the fats, and coriander definitely comes in very much with the carbohydrates. So easy to remember, both of them start with C. And, when we've got too many carbohydrates floating about in our body, then our body's response is to release more insulin because carbohydrates translates into glucose. Then we've got our blood glucose too high, and then we need insulin to pop that out of the blood vessels into the cells. And coriander plays a really, really important part in all of that. When we're just a bit too sweet, then we need a little bit more coriander. So if you've really had a big meal and you think, oh man, I'm going to be paying for that, then just rub some coriander on your belly and see what happens. So it's a beautiful oil.
Thanks, Berit. And so coriander is a part of DigestZen, along with ginger, peppermint, fennel, anise,
tarragon, yes, all of those things, and especially tarragon and caraway and fennel are very antispasmodic. We go, and a spasm is a wave of something, and it is a wave of pain. You've got the up when it's really quite acute, and then it sort of lessens. And so what we certain constituents in these oils, help to just balance that out, to just take the highs away and bring it all closer. And that's wonderful because our whole digestive system works like a wave as well, with food in, and it needs to be moved along somehow through the muscles in the intestinal wall. So when we have oils that regulate how high those spasms are and how intense they are and how acute they are, that just really helps. So it's just gorgeous. And ginger, when you're feeling quite nauseous, you might be taking someone for a drive in the hills and all those sort of things. Well, again, if we're looking at the chemistry of the oils, it's an oil that I love a lot because I am prone to dizziness and prone to feeling quite nauseous and then prone to vomiting. And I find that the ginger oil really keeps that under control. So that's really, really lovely. It does it very nicely. It smells really nice. And they did some testing actually and found that there is a constituent in it that helps to regulate that sort of vomiting reflex. If I want to be so blunt, I hope you didn't just have your breakfast. But it helps with that. And my goodness, nobody likes to be in that position with your sort of your head in the bucket. So it's nice to have something to take that away and make you feel human again. So
and it's certainly been my I don't use the word miracle lightly, but it's certainly been my miracle oil because I've had so many amazing experiences with it, and I want to come back to pain again. So we talked about the discomfort of the spasms, but I think there's another sort of emotional pain, and often stress will totally throw our whole gut system out of whack. And so often we will go, oh my God, it's my stomach. But again, if we can keep asking our questions, what have I done differently, and this is where the practical comes in. Keep a like a sleep food kind of diary where you're looking at, well, how much sleep did I get and what was I eating and what were the reactions and what were the, what worked well? How did I actually feel? When we tune into our senses, when we come to your senses, guys, be mindful of eating, be mindful of experiencing life instead of just getting up and then all of a sudden you're going to bed again. But what I find is that I know for myself, when I have inordinate amounts of stress, my gut just straight away is affected. And so then if I look at what are those oils in Digest then telling me? And I think about tarragon. Tarragon is just appealing to us to change. It's like to look at, what do you need to change? Let's uncover the actions here that we need to change. And, why are you hiding your brilliant self? Quite often we have this turmoil in our stomach because of something that's happened. And if we dig back, it's possibly, again, coming down to, well, it'll be something where we have not asserted ourselves, or we have not said no, we've taken on stuff, we've put our needs last. And so it's really, really exciting when we combine the wisdom of the scientific side of the oils and the wisdom of the emotional aspect of the oils, and then our own inner wisdom. Listen to your inner voice. I want to just do a card for Fiona, because we get carried away here in the day slips away. We could talk forever. But, if there's one thing I can encourage you, my friends, is to tap into me, because I love to share. And, as you can see, I have great resources in my friends like Berit, who I'm happy to share with you. And Berit, you can tell everyone about the class you've got coming up shortly. But, we can sort of talk about superficial things here. But, there's nothing better than going deep. There's nothing better than having a personal conversation where you and I get to connect. And I will ask you a lot of questions, because I need to know. I need to know you and feel you and build that relationship, and for you to trust me. Sometimes you might not feel a connection. That's okay. But when we do feel a connection, I love to take you on an oily journey where we can explore what's going on in your life, and where we can try and integrate a few oils here and a few oils there to see how they can support you to be the best you can be, that we can shine that golden light and mend those cracks and help you be an even more beautiful vessel of light to shine into the world. And so Fiona, my friend, it's lovely to have you on here again. Fiona, what have we got for you? Fiona, Madonna. Sorry, a bit of Maltese coming out there. You have rose.
Oh.
Rose. Oh, heart be still. Do you know, it's really interesting, because rose is such a beautiful flower, beautiful to look at, but it is the oil of divine love. And you know what? We look at it, it's so precious, it's so delicate, but man, it packs a punch. And Berit, I might get you in a minute just to share a couple of the scientific reasons why rose is so powerful. But you know what, with rose, let me just tell you the degrees that we go to ensure that when you buy a bottle of doTERRA oil, it is pure beyond. Our rose we source from Bulgaria. The petals have to be picked before the sun hits them. They're picked by a group of women, and they're placed into muslin bags, which are then put onto the back of horse-drawn carriages. It's a cart, but carriage sounds so much grand. On a cart, and then clip-clop, come with me, up to the door of the distillery, because we do not want a vehicle, because vehicles have vehicle fumes, to be affecting those petals. And so that process in itself is just amazing. So that's just one thing. But if you think about petals of flowers, they start off with a bud and they open up. And I think all flowers are inviting us to see that beauty within and to open up. And roses, like, Fiona, just think about this. You are held. This divine love is surrounding you and nurturing you, inviting you to open up and to blossom, to be the true Fiona, and that you are safe. So perhaps you've gone through some heartache or some sort of pain in that realm, Fiona, but this is inviting you to bring compassion and healing into your life, compassion for yourself. I always believe in sending compassion to those who hurt us. I never send ill thoughts, because life is a boomerang. It will come back. So when we can have the courage to bless those who have harmed us and send them love, send them the divine love of rose as well, we can even harness more love and forgiveness and healing for ourselves. And when we open up to give, we actually open up to receive. Just like the petals are opening, Fiona, you open up and send out that love. It's actually leaving you more exposed for this amazing amount of love to come to you. So what we're looking here is, Your centering thought is, I am divine love, because the divine is within, the divine is without. We are one. I have the capacity to heal. I have the capacity to heal within. I open my heart to receive. And your question, Fiona, is, why is my heart so open and so full of love? I hope that is meaningful to you. So Berit, just in a few minutes, just a couple of top things about rose, because we know roses, we love it for the aroma and how it makes us feel. What are some of the great power punches that rose packs?
I think rose has got a lot of alcohols in it. Remember last week we were talking about how oils are made up, sort of from an organic chemistry perspective. And so one of the functional groups in it is a group of particular alcohols. And they are very clarifying, they're very restorative, they're very supportive, they're very calming. One that I love that's in there is called beta-carotene. So it helps with pain as well, and we're talking particularly about pain today. So it's a good all-rounder, and I believe when we're looking at the frequencies of things in nature, we know that rose oil has got the highest frequency. So it literally just pulls you up. It doesn't matter where you are, it's going to pull you out of that, and it's going to be supporting you to lift you, to uplift you, no matter what's going on so many levels, whether that's your emotional, mental, physical kind of level. So it's the queen of beautiful oils. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing.
Beautiful. Now, we're going to have to talk quickly now, because I really want to hear about Copaiba, because I just love the emotional aspect of that. So maybe you could share with us why Copaiba, in shorthand, why it is so amazing, and then I'll share my thoughts on the emotions and how we can use it.
For sure, for sure.
I haven't forgotten you.
So Copaiba, or Copaiba, whichever way you want to pronounce it, comes from the Brazilian rainforest. So it's been used by the indigenous people there for thousands of years. We've just stumbled across them. But Copaiba, if we're looking at it from an organic chemistry perspective, is very, very high in what's called these beta-carophyllenes. And it's was a very exciting discovery. The reason being that our body has got many pain receptors in it, and it's often loosely referred to as an endocannabinoid system. And when a stimulus comes along, it's a little neurotransmitter, which is an endocannabinoid, signals to other cells, something is not right here, we need attention, we need to do X, Y, Z, and then cells communicate and make a process happen. Well, beta-carotene is a constituent in Copaiba, which talks to these little receptors that then make changes occur in cells. So every cell has got hundreds of thousands of little receptors around it, and beta-carotene, a constituent, fits really nicely like a lock and a key into one of these receptors, and really just blocks things or activates things within a cell to create a certain outcome. So it's an oil that is amazing for pain. And, these particular beta-carotene works on particular receptors which are all over the body. So each cell has got these particular receptors, endocannabinoid receptors on it, that will respond to this. So no matter where your pain is, we've got something in our Copaiba oil that will help there. So was that in a nutshell, I think?
Yes, that was brilliant. And I think that, when we're talking about pain, as much as we know that pain tends to begin with emotions, etc., that's our belief, we still need to deal with the physical aspect of it. And quite often, like if you think about it, if you're in excruciating pain, it's a little bit hard to sort of sit and meditate and wonder, what you did that created that. Whereas if we can actually use that oil and help to soothe that pain, and then think about the message that it has for us. And, the Copaiba oil, I just like to, I want to kind of do a little bit of a dance and I say, Copaiba. But anyway, bear with me with my sense of humor, those of you who don't know me. But it comes from the core of the tree. So think about what it's actually inviting us to go within to go within and look at the core of our being, of who we are, and to ask ourselves, who am I? Who is this person, Leonie? And it's also to go in and to basically have a bit of a magnifying glass look around inside. And so, sometimes we operate on the surface and maybe we're being too humble and we're not really seeing our own true value. And I think that Copaiba helps us to maybe, take off the veil. It's sometimes referred to as the oil of unveiling, and to actually look within. Now, it's also about, if you think about roots into the ground, it's a tree, and you should know by now I love trees, but trees are kind of holding us in the moment. Let's be in the moment. So we can look back, but not to dwell. It's to go, okay, well, maybe I did do that. I'm going to send myself love and forgiveness. And then I'm going to look forward, but I'm not going to get anxious over the future. I'm going to be here enjoying this discovery of finding out who I really am, and then actually doing something about it. And if we want to find out who we are, we tap into our inner wisdom, and then we act on being the real me, the real you. And so Copaiba, I think, is really powerful in helping us to get clear on who we are, and then to ensure that we are in alignment with who we are. And to me, we are made up of our values. And if you haven't done this, guys, a little tip: make a list of what are my values. And if you're not really sure how that works, just make a list of what I'll stand for and what I won't stand for. And then you can kind of get clear on what's really important to you. But if you think about it, I have some structural issues, and so I'm out of alignment. And I know when I put Copaiba on, it helps release that stress and drop those shoulders to be a little bit more even. So I need to do some, and I do this daily, constantly. Like I said, I'm a work in progress, guys, and I think we all are to a certain extent. If we are to expand our, our spiritual awareness and really grow into who we need to be, we need to be looking at our self-improvement on a daily basis. And it's not a big deal. It just is what it is. So Copaiba is perfect for that. And I actually teamed up Copaiba this week for my sense of relief blend. I teamed it up with lavender. And lavender, another one, Berit, I know that often we get so caught up in all these beautiful new oils, and they're not new to the Indigenous, but maybe new to us, that we sometimes forget our loyal partner, lavender, which is an incredible oil to soothe pain. It's very comforting on an emotional level. And sometimes our pain is caused again because we haven't spoken up. And so lavender will help to sort of calm and support us and give us confidence to speak up. And so I feel that, when we team up Copaiba and lavender, it smells beautiful. It's also going to serve us really well on an emotional level. And my affirmation that I have for you to go with that is, I release all that no longer serves me. I am free to be me. I am free to be the magnificent me I was put on this earth to be. And Cassandra, I'm not going anywhere without doing your card. Here is the card for Cassandra. Cassandra, you have tea tree. Cassandra's my beautiful friend in Cairns. Tea tree. Now, tea tree is a very powerful energetic cleanser. And so I look at tea tree as being something that helps. Again, it's like a little bit allowing us to protect ourselves, to have boundaries, and to maybe avoid, to stop those. Maybe we've got some codependency, parasitic type relationships. Cassandra, this doesn't necessarily have to be you. It could be going on around you as well, something that's on your periphery. So what that does is more, and it could be something that's happened in the past, but it's more helping, to my mind, it's more helping to go inward and go, what are my patterns that I am allowing that to happen? What are my thoughts about me? Because self-talk is a real issue. Are we creating pain with our self-talk? And just a quick tip, if you haven't looked up, is it Dr. Emoto and his works on, I had to write it down, the hidden messages of water and the effect of our words on water and the crystalline structure of the water. Guys, it's a real wake-up call, because our self-talk can be so damaging. Cassandra, what we're looking here is to your centering thought. I know who I am. I choose courage. I stay true to who I am. And the question for you is, why is it so easy for me to create healthy boundaries? Remember that we need boundaries in all areas of our life. So it's not just relationships in the home. It could be work relationships. It could be friends, etc. And this is when we go within with our Kopaiba and we look at who we truly are, what values we want to really firm up. That will often mean that we send some of the people in our life away with love. Okay, so that makes sense to you, Cassandra. Fantastic. Okay, so just lastly, it's been a blast. Lastly, I just want to share with you, please know that I'm here to serve. Please know that it is my absolute joy to connect with you and to be able to shed more light on the oils. So feel free to, if you'd like to come on a free oily exploration with me, just make a comment or send me a private message. Love you to go and like my Facebook page, Sense of Empowerment, spelled SCENTS, Sense of Empowerment. And my website, senseofempowerment.com.au. On there, I have my blog. There's also a page of aromatic affirmations, aromatic anchoring, because when you use an oil and you anchor it with an affirmation, it actually amplifies the whole process, the whole feeling, and you can actually create a much more powerful effect. Another thing I'd like to invite you to is Sunday, the Spiritual Events Directory are having another one of their expos, and all day on the Spiritual Events Directory page, you're going to hear from those of us who have contributed to the new Spiritual Events Journal. And this is an amazing journal. I'm one of the 12 contributors, and we're all sharing a different way of journaling because it's so important to get our feelings and our thoughts out of our physical form and onto paper. And then we can actually, get a clearer picture of what's going on in our life and then create a clearer action plan forward. So I'd really love to invite you onto that. I'm actually going to be speaking on there 9:50 to 10:20 on how to activate your senses for effective journaling. So that's my invitation to you, and hop onto the Spiritual Events Directory page and look for the ads that our beautiful Sarah has put up there about the journal, because there's some really good pre-buying options on there. It's going to make a fabulous Christmas gift, and I'm sure you'll all really enjoy it. I just want to say to you that when pain shows up in your life, I like to think that it's our maker, source, God, Buddha, Jesus, Allah, whoever it is that you follow, it's them prompting us to say, my child, I'm trying to get your attention. I'm trying to get your attention. Do you remember that when your kids were little, mom, 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 and we got a little bit good at ignoring them, I think. Well, maybe we're doing that to our greater power, and we're ignoring our inner voice that really, I think, Berit, you said it. The wisdom within knows. We just have to listen to those prompts, whether it is a pain, a physical pain, or whether it is an emotional pain. But my friends, pay attention to those, and please tap into me if it is my jam to actually work with people with their emotions to help you come to your senses and enjoy this amazing life that we've been given. Berit, thank you so much. It's been a blast. I'm so glad I sorted out the technology. Thanks for being with us, guys. Have a beautiful week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.